So they just dropped the new Artificer Unearthed Arcana, and in some ways, it's absolutely cracked. It's wildly strong, and in other ways, it's kind of the opposite. It's not. It's a roller coaster of adventure here. So your level 1 feature is magical tinkering. This is okay. As a magic action, you can create one of these objects a few times a day. The best one here is definitely ball bearings. That is funny. Is it very good? Not really, but you can throw out ball bearings within 5 feet of you in combat, make enemies fall over. Artificers are still half casters, and there's some decent spells here. Firebolt, Guidance, Prestidigitation, Ray of Frost, Shocking Grasp, Spare the Dying, True Strike, all pretty decent. They have removed Catapult from the spell list, which is a cause for unbridled rage, but there might be a reason why. We'll get to that in a second. There's still other good spells: Aid, Blur, Dark Vision, Enlarge, Reduce, Heat Metal, Haste, Dispel Magic, Fly, Summon Construct. There's some good stuff here. So why is Catapult gone? Well, I'm hoping because Catapult isn't in the system reference document, because it's not a free spell. They've taken it out because they intend one day to make the Artificer free. They want to put it in Creative Commons so anyone can play. Is that crazy? Yeah, probably. There's like a 2% chance that'll happen, but we can hope, and maybe this is a sign. If it's not a sign and they just remove Catapult for no reason, this sucks, because that was a great spell. We got to talk about one of these spells though, and that is Homunculus Servant. So this used to be an Artificer infusion. They've now turned it into just an Artificer spell. It's basically just a better Find Familiar where you make a metal flying little fella. You can cast spells with a range of touch through it. It can attack every turn without any action from you. It's pretty good. Level 2 used to be the Artificer Infusions feature. Now it's Replicate Magic Item. You learn 4 arcane plans to create magic items. We'll take a look at the magic items you can make in a sec, and you can create 2 of them at a time. If you create a third one, the first one disappears. You can only have 2 at this level. The list of magic items is still pretty good. You've got any common magic item that isn't a potion, a scroll, or cursed. This means that you can craft spell-wrought tattoos of first level or cantrips. That means you can give anybody a single casting of any first level spell or any cantrip. That's pretty decent. Best one here is +1 shield, right? That's kind of wild for level 2. A Tortle with the Magic Initiate feat grabbing the shield spell, and this can have just 25 AC. 25 AC at level 2. And of course, Bing Bang Boom, Bag of Holding is an insanely powerful magic item. They've actually changed how this ability works, so you can no longer create 2 of the same magic item. You used to be able to. In 2014, you could create 2 Bags of Holding with this feature. You could then make them into a bomb by stuffing one into the other, and basically delete any creature that couldn't teleport across the multiverse from the game. You can still do that. The Bag of Holding works that way, but you can't do it on your own. You'd need 2 Artificers in the party to be able to pull off this combo. You can still do other stuff. You can polymorph an enemy into a worm, stuff the worm in the Bag of Holding, cut the Bag of Holding open, and the worm will get thrown onto the astral plane. At later levels, you get more cool stuff. At level 10, you can craft any uncommon ring or wondrous item that isn't cursed. This would be really good, except with the new crafting rules, you can craft any uncommon item for 200 gold. I don't recommend using those crafting rules because they are bonkers. If you ignore that those exist, this is a pretty good feature. Uncommon items at level 10, probably quite well balanced. We'll go through subclasses after the main class. You get them at level 3, there's a lot to talk about, but at level 6, there's a new feature, Drain Magic Item. As a bonus action, you take a magic item you've made from this list, you drain the magic out of it, it disappears, and you get back a 1st or 2nd level spell slot. Honestly, I don't think this is very good. I think you'd always rather have, or almost always rather have, a decent magic item, but in an emergency, when you really need a spell slot, sure, it's not hurting you to have this feature. Level 7 Flash of Genius has always been good. That's a +5 to anyone's ability check or saving throw as long as they're within 30 feet of you. Level 10, attuned to an additional magic item. Level 11, this is the big feature, Spell Storing Item. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can touch one simple or martial weapon or one item that you can use as a spellcasting focus and store a spell in it of 1st, 2nd, or 3rd level. Has to be an Artificer spell though. It also has to have a casting time of an action, and this has always been a feature, right? But it used to only work on 1st and 2nd level spells. When any creature is holding that object, they can take an action to replicate the spell's effect from it. If the spell requires concentration, they have to concentrate, but the spell uses your ability score modifier, and the object can be used 10 times per day. This is 10 bonus 3rd level spell slots that anyone can use, and it gets even better. This is not technically casting a spell. This is using a magic item, so a barbarian can cast spells with this. Yeah, they can't concentrate while raging, but they can still activate spell effects that don't require concentration. Here's an idea: pass your spellcasting focus around to give yourself, your fighter, your ranger, your ranger's pet drake, your paladin, and your paladin's horse haste in a single round before charging into battle. That is crazy. Or store up a bunch of revivifies and give them to your homunculus servant so it can fly around in combat and bring people back from the dead. Or maybe you can even give it a dagger with the spell Fireball stored within and throw out a free fireball every turn 10 times a day. Because Fireball is on your Artificer spell list if you are an Artillerist. Even if you all decide, no, that's way too powerful, you can't use subclass Artificer spells with the spell storing item, this is still incredible, right? Haste, Gaseous Form, Fly, these are fantastic spells. Hell, even just Cure Wounds at 3rd level, these are fantastic spells to be able to throw out for free 10 times a day. Level 14, you can attune to 5 magic items, level 18, you can attune to 6 magic items, and level 20 has got a little bit of a nerf and a little bit of a buff. Before, you got a +1 to every saving throw for every magic item you were attuned to. That was pretty wild. That was a +6 to every save. Now, you just add 1d6 to every ability check, which is way worse, but when you fall to 0 hit points while attuned to one of your own magic items, you can disintegrate that magic item to fall to 20 hit points instead. This used to only keep you alive at 1 hit point, so it's significantly tankier. So that's the core class. We'll do the review at the end because we need to talk about the subclasses.
And so you step forth and enter the dungeon. I'll just grab the map. Nice, yeah. The first thing you note are the 2 spherical antechambers, which lead to a long corridor. Oh no. At the top of the corridor is a hemispherical altar room, and at the tip... Hey, DM? Yes? Can we not use your maps? For one session? Where is this coming from? Just last week, you were complaining about the map I made of the concentric crop circles in the flowing river. Please, any other map. I hate this. Well, I'm sorry for trying, but I can't afford fancy schmancy maps for every bloody session. Let's just use Cheipeku. Cheipeku?
Cheipeku are the ultimate high-quality fantasy map makers for D&D, Pathfinder, DC-20, Daggerheart, or any other tabletop game. You can grab over 4,000 stunningly beautiful maps for just $5 from their Patreon. That's just $5 to access the entire Cheipeku archive of maps with all variations, and they drop more every month. You can also check out all of their content or buy individual maps at cheipeku.com. Immerse your players, effortlessly import maps into VTTs, and join the community by heading over to the Cheipeku Patreon now, link in description. Take your games to the next level today. Subclasses! So Alchemist was always the worst Artificer. I've gone to bat for this many times, saying it's not as bad as people say, but it definitely was the worst. And I gotta say, like, these changes, guys, they don't fix it. It's not enough, but you'll see. Level 3, tool proficiency, who cares? Some decent spells, but they always had decent spells. The real thing is experimental elixir. At the end of every long rest, you produce 2 magical elixirs, but their effects are random. You roll on this experimental elixir table, and you just get that effect for each one. Yes, if you roll a 6, you get to choose the effect, but still, this sucks. I have never understood this. What kind of self-respecting drug dealer doesn't understand what drugs they're making? How are you cooking like that? This is your job, man. How can I, a self-respecting paladin, take your illegal steroids if you don't even know what they're going to do? Thankfully, you can drink them as a bonus action now. It used to be a full action to drink these, which was just horrific. And you can create additional elixirs by burning a spell slot to do so. And when you do that, you actually get to choose the effect, which is obviously way better. But honestly, the elixirs themselves, they're still kind of mid. 2d8 plus your intelligence modifier healing, plus 10 feet of movement, flight speed, but only 10 feet, plus 1 AC isn't bad. These could be a little better, but much more importantly, they should scale. They should increase in potency as you level up or as you pump higher level spell slots into them. That would make this feature actually pretty decent. At the moment, it's mid. 5th level, you deal 5 extra damage or 5 extra healing when you cast a spell. It's okay. 9th level, you fortify creatures who drink your potions. They gain temporary hit points equal to your Artificer level plus your intelligence modifier whenever they down one. That's actually pretty good. That's 14 bonus temporary hit points on top of an elixir's effects, and you can make a lot of elixirs. This represents actually a huge amount of temporary hit points across the party. You can also cast Lesser Restoration a few times a day without expending a spell slot, which is fine. Okay, level 15 used to be the savior of this class. It used to let you cast Harm and Heal, both fantastic spells, once a day without a spell slot. Now you have resistance to acid and poison damage, which is fine, but you used to also have an immunity to the poison condition, so this is just a downgrade. You also get to add 2d8 force damage to any Artificer spell that deals acid, fire, necrotic, or poison damage. That's pretty good. 2d8 damage extra every turn. Finally, you can cast Tasha's Bubbling Cauldron without expending a spell slot once a day, which is like... Honestly, I don't rate this spell very highly. It lets you produce uncommon potions, but honestly, there aren't any really powerful uncommon potions. I'd much rather have both Harm and Heal, 2 6th level spell slots, than this single one. Can't deny the flavor, this does make sense as a flavorful spell, but overall this subclass is still pretty weak. Armorer got some crazy boosts though, this one's pretty hype. So the core stuff is mostly the same, you get heavy armor proficiency, you get a really decent spell list, but Arcane Armor has a new option added. The Dreadnought lets you grow large in size for 1 minute multiple times a day as a bonus action. It also comes with a flail weapon which deals 1d10 bludgeoning plus your intelligence modifier on a hit and has the reach property. Because becoming large also increases your reach by 5 feet, this lets you bonk people from 15 feet away with your ball and chain. Also, when you hit a creature that is smaller than you, you can push them 10 feet away or pull them 10 feet closer to you. This is very cool. Guardian armor is mostly the same, you can attack people and give them disadvantage on attacks against other people, and Infiltrator is mostly the same, you can attack people at range, deal a little lightning damage, and move stealthily despite wearing heavy armor. Extra attack at level 5, obviously every martial subclass needs this, and at level 9 you get armor replication. This feature used to let you add additional Artificer infusions to your armor, and the new one works basically the same, it just works with the new version of the replicate magic item rule. Essentially, you can take any one of these features which is specific to armor, like +1 armor, and attach it to yourself for free. So it's free +1 armor, or at higher levels, a free uncommon armor type, like adamantine. Level 15, all of your armor types get a boost. Dreadnought now deals 2d6 damage on a hit rather than 1d10, which is okay, and you can fly, and you can increase to huge size. It's just the Hulkbuster armor, that's the point, it's the Hulkbuster. All of the armor types get a damage increase, the Guardian also lets you pull a creature towards you and hit them as a reaction, and the Infiltrator gives anyone you hit disadvantage on attack rolls against you, which is going to be pretty good considering your AC is already godly, and now they have to beat it at disadvantage. Artillerist is basically the same, you're still making a remote control cannon, but instead of having to choose what type of cannon you create, it can pick any option each time it takes an action. It's just more flexible, basically. Level 5, you still get to make a gun, and it adds 1d8 damage to the damage rolls of your spells. Level 9, the damage of your exploding cannon goes up, so when it falls to 0 hit points, you can cause it to detonate, and deal 3d10 force damage to creatures within 20 feet that fail a dex save. The cannon's damage rolls also increase by 1d8, which is pretty good, but it's weird that this doesn't also boost the healing power of the protector cannon. This feels like a mistake. I'd expect that to get fixed in the final one. There's no good reason why this shouldn't restore more hit points. It's dealing more damage, right? Level 15, you get 2 cannons for double the fun and double the damage, and anyone within 10 feet of the cannon who's an ally gets +2 to their AC. This is doubling your bonus action damage. 6d8 damage every turn from twin flamethrowers in an AoE is actually quite a lot. Finally, Battlesmith is here, and I'm not going to waste anyone's time. It's the same, okay? Your Steel Defender has 2 fewer hit points, but it does hit quite a lot harder with its Steel Rend attack. That's it, though. The rest of the class is identical. Okay, and that is the new Artificer, and you've probably already noticed the main problem with this Unearthed Arcana, and that is that it's very unambitious. Unearthed Arcana is the place to go crazy, but so much of this is just the same as before. When they were trialing the 2024 versions of the classes, they did sometimes really push the boat out and explore new stuff, and it was fun, it was cool. But there's no meat here, right? Why is there no new subclass? Why not a whole new subclass to try out? Why is the Alchemist not received a meaningful change? We all knew it was the worst one. That said, I do like the changes that we've seen. I like the Dreadnought. I like being able to infuse 3rd level spells into a spell storing item. The Alchemist needs to be pushed further. This was the time to explore. It's a shame to see them take so few risks. At the very least, please God, let them choose their elixirs. By the way, I made a subclass for Calm, the mental health charity, and it's free. You can download it here. It's a warlock whose patron is you from the future. Together, we raised over $4,000 for Calm, which is incredible. You are incredible. Calm is a suicide prevention charity, and they're here to help anyone who feels like they need them. This time of year sucks for a lot of people. If you just want someone to talk it through with, that is literally what they're there for. That is what the resources are for. We are so glad and grateful to have you here. It does get better. Also, this Warlock is really fun. Seriously, check it out. These videos would be impossible without your support through Patreon and YouTube memberships. Thank you so much. If you join, you get access to a bunch of rewards, including bonus videos and live streams, but you know all that by now. Please consider supporting the channel if you can. Remember to like and subscribe, check out other videos on the channel, and yeah, that's all I got. I'll see you next time.